when God created us all, we were created with a hope that we would all exist, with each other, be able to, it was God's, in Genesis, the Bible talked about how that we've been made in God's image. And I think a world without inequality will be a world that runs on the template of God's original design of what the, people, humanity, relationship should look like. At every point in time, we move away from that. It's like we're moving away from the original plan and design of God. And that becomes a little bit problematic. So I think a world without a world where every voice is heard and everybody matters, I think that's the primary design, the original design of God. And that it would be a very perfect world.
So racial justice means for me to be an agent and advocate for those that are marginalised and find it difficult to have a voice. I also have had a real heart from the beginning that the Holy Spirit has led me to the alien, orphan and widow passages in the Old Testament. And I feel that God's story of care for the alien throughout those times, right through to Jesus talking about how we should treat the neighbour as we do ourselves, and right through to Revelation where we're worshipping together, is just the overarching story that God has of care for everyone.
To me, racial justice means when we're thinking about the veil being taken off of our eyes so that we're able to see each other the way that God intended us to be seen, when we're able to look at the person, to acknowledge their uniqueness, their differences, no matter what they look like or where they come from, being able to see that in love and appreciation and not judgment, and having a heart just open wide to receive and to accept and to learn from each other.
But the beauty of diversity, which I believe was what God had in mind, is the fact that whilst we've got all of these different features in our body, eyes and ears and nose and thumbs and feet and stuff like that, seeing them all work together, it's absolutely incredible to see what God has been able to shape in us. And I think in God making us different in the way He's created us, it's also been able to, it's like a piano. When you play different chords and stuff, it's like the symphony and the harmony brings out, it's incredible. But if you keep on playing, say, one button alone all the time, at some point it becomes really a very irritating noise. So I believe that it's that divine symphony, that God has created us differently, but then it's an incredible masterpiece of music, the way I think about it.
Racial justice is important to the people or the children that I work with because it's so important that they know who they are. And I've mentioned this uniqueness that we all carry, that we've all been given because of God. I think that it's important that they know how beautiful they are, how unique they are, how they've been created, the different gifts that they've been given that they can share with the world. That's so important. And not only that, but when they see that they are respected and loved as they are, and everyone around them is as well, when they are growing up, they will have a strength and a voice to add change and to help. And not only that, one other thing, when they see differences around them, right? When they see the people that they're working with, that they will be able to have personal relationships. And that's what's really important, personal relationships growing so that you can speak from experience when you are part of those who are moving to make a change, part of those who are making a change.
Racial justice empowers young people to understand their identity and the identities of others, encouraging empathy and solidarity. Racial justice provides young people with the tools to engage in difficult conversations about race, about privileges, and about the systemic operations, equipping them to become advocates of change. In an increasingly diverse society, young people are looking for spaces where they can be authentic and where their voices matter. And racial justice is integral to creating those safe spaces.
So I've been working with young primary school children, and what's been interesting is that for the children that I work with in the parishes of the Forest, you wouldn't necessarily think that racism is an appropriate or something that needs to be discussed. But actually, when I've sat down and had conversations with children, they have shared with me that they have grandparents or they have parents and they have experienced racism and it's been deeply upsetting to them. Working with these children so that we can have a conversation, that we can actually say that we understand racism is a problem, but we hear you and we want to build better communities is really important. I would like to see the church grow by being more involved with the schools. I feel that one of the things that's worked really well has been having worship ambassadors in the 3 schools that I work in. And they are just natural advocates. They are the ones that are going to talk to their peers. They are the ones that are going to be encouragers. And they are also the ones that really understand about listening to their friends' stories. And through that sharing, there is so much love and so much peace to be gained.
I would want to see the church grow in this area, or continue growing, by softening our hearts to those who are different to us. Like when I think about my role at this church, St. James by the Park Church, I think about the fact that I was the first Black person in a leadership role, or person of color in a leadership role ever in this church, as far as I know, and how important that was. And stepping out, being courageous. It's so important for churches to be courageous, to open our eyes and see that everyone has the ability to contribute, no matter what color they are, and that is so important. The church can do better by having more courage, being willing to step out and face the unknown. And when we do that, I know God is very pleased, because we are trusting Him. We're stepping into unknown area. And when we trust Him, that is when He is able to move on our behalf and do more than we could ever hope, think, dream, or imagine. He is good. Let's embrace those around us. Let's embrace it.